hi. Okay, so hello everyone. I won't pronounce it in your language because it will come up something like Brad Pitt in Tarantino's. It will be like buongiorno, so it's not Italian. So my name is Kamil, and back to English, but we still talk in English, so there's no point of showing you this slide. But so I came here from Warsaw, which is in Poland. Poland is something like there. And yeah, we're here in Berlin, and I did this talk, I did the slides a couple days ago and the example yesterday, but the actual content is all about from the train ride. So it's like a little spontaneous. So yeah, here's me, I can even something like this. So it's my Twitter handle, GitHub handle, and Gmail handle. So it's Kamil Kisiela, which is my name and last name, which is obvious. So yeah, we will talk about the GraphQL inside the Angular. So the title of this presentation is Landing on the ngMoon with Apollo, which is okay, so today is Wednesday, but it's not all about this. So today, what are we doing with our apps today? So we use frameworks like React, Angular, and other ones. I like them all, so it's not but I prefer Angular, so it's not. Okay, so and today we will focus about components. So the basic unit of our application is a component. So we use them in React, in Angular 2. Since Angular 2 we use components. Before then it was like a controller bound into some template, which is a directory and stuff like this. And it's working because you can split your apps inside simple, way more simple, way less complex units. And also app is component by itself. So yeah. And this is how the component looks like in Angular 2. And I have a question. How many of you have been working on Angular? Okay, so, I thought it will be just me, so it's good. Thanks a lot. So this is the basic component that requires some data. And we put here outer text of that comment, which is some object, which is typed in a comment. So the thing is how to put the data inside the component. So we can provide it directly using our, REST endpoint, stuff like this. So as you can see, we use HTTP service. We hit the endpoint to get the data. We parse the result to get the JSON. We subscribe pip, and then we put it inside the under the property. And yeah, and that's it basically. Now there is a problem because you have this data bounded to the component. So imagine, yeah, and it's a problem with data. So it's another slide. So imagine that this component, as you could see, has a API address. And imagine that you have to change it, you have to develop it, maintain it, and stuff. It's very painless, painful. Painless now. Painless is with GraphQL. So, but we will go to there. And yeah, it's really hard to do that kind of stuff. So there must be a better way, right? And there is. In Angular, we splitted the components into smart components and dumb components, which stands for container and presentational part. So where is a smart and dumb component? So smart component is a component that provides some data, that fetches from the server, and put the data into, pass the data into the dumb component, which is just a presentation part. So back to the example. We have something like this. So how to do the smart thing and dumb thing inside this component. So let's keep the component called common component as a dumb component. So it displays only the data, and it requires some input. So we could do something like this by creating a comment container component, which is a wrapper on top of the component by itself. So it's a smart component, and as you can see here, it's cool. That's nice. It's as you can see here, which is way more cooler. We get the same HTTP service and the same fetching. So it's not still a good idea. Like it's better, but it's not the best one. So yeah, we use services in Angular. So Angular has a thing like services, and it's we can wrap this, like we can put the actual API, we can hide it under some service. So this service is called Comments API. We can inject it as any other service. So, and we fetch a single comment, and that's it. And we provide some ID of that comment. And yeah, we're done, but not so exactly. Like now everyone's supposed to be happy besides your clients and developers. So yeah, so let's take a look at a bunch of problems. So first problem is that the network is being overloaded because you get like thousands of requests to the API endpoint, like multiple endpoints, so it's painful. And we've got something like unnecessary requests. So imagine that two components are hitting the same endpoint. You get the same request twice. So it's not a good idea. And we have inconsistent data because let's say our component contains a field that says how many people liked this comment. So imagine that you have two components inside your app. So it's like top components and list of components. And someone between the result, between fetching the result, we call between making those two requests, liked the one of the comments. So you get like two different data. And imagine that with REST endpoint you get multiple round trips, and like between those round trips you can get the data changed. So it's also painful, which is like third time I said that. So, but prepare to hear word like cool, because I will use it a lot. So the other problem is that the data is being overfetched. So let's see. We use comment, so we get like text, posted by, created at, and number of likes. And as you can see, we display only the text and the posted by. So we get like two fields, and we put other fields into the trash. So it's an overkill. And yeah, also in our apps, when the REST endpoint and also any endpoint changes, we have to make adjustment. And with GraphQL, it's like so yeah, as you can see, we have like different names of those fields, and like basically the structure might change and stuff. So it's painful. Fourth time, and yeah, also client depends on the API. And Martin did a really good introduction to GraphQL, so there is no point of explaining all the GraphQL things and stuff. So I will just skip it to make it like a lightning talk. So we've got problems. So let's go to the solutions. So yeah, you can use GraphQL, and basically that's it. So you can clap and we can go out, but it's not the case. So yeah, oh no, he continues. Yes, and at the end, well, they say GraphQL is a cure for everything, and it is, but not for all the cases. So GraphQL is really helpful, but it doesn't solve every of those problems. So basically, what GraphQL solves is that, like I said, that client depends on the server. So we've got the separation of concepts. So GraphQL client is not totally, but it's like independent from the actual source of the data. So it's good. And we, as a client, as a UI developers, define what we need. And yeah, and we can change it anytime we want. Like, we no longer depend on the server, so we can like play around and stuff. So it's really important to us because we don't want to ask the developers on server side to make something change and stuff, because it's like, as Martin said, that like we've got versioning and GraphQL, we won't use it even, so it's good. And yeah, about the adjustments, we own the structure, so we can define exact data and exact shape. We can use aliases and stuff wherever we want to use the data. So it's good. And also we can use fragments. So we can bound the fragment with a component. So this way, components define the need to fulfill the data. So it's good. And yeah, this is an example how to use the fragment. So we can bound this fragment and give the same name, like for example, as the actual component. And as you can see, we have a different component, which is a container. So it's a comments page with a list of comments, and we can import this stuff into this component, use it inside this query. And this is Angular to Apollo integration specific API. We will not talk about it. There's no point. So yeah, we talked about data, the shaping structure and stuff, but what about the actual network? What about this lot of requests and stuff? So because GraphQL is just a language, we need something to manage the network. And let's go back to the example to find a proper solution. So this is where we left off. So we've got something like this right now. And this is a container, so it fetches the actual comment. And by the way, this is a comment container. So at the first you get the list of IDs. Then you display the comments, like putting the actual data, like putting the ID to comment container. Then this comment container passes the actual data of that comment into the presentational component, which is a dump component. And yeah, so this is how our comments API looks like. So it's basically the same thing we did inside this component, like previous one, but we put the HTTP GET request to the under the method, under the comments API. So it's good because we have a separation. So we can change in one place and all the components will be updated. So it's good, but let's implement the GraphQL. So basically GraphQL is you can make a simple HTTP request and that's it, and you can get the response. So we can parse it into the JSON, and in JSON we use in most cases we have JSON, so yeah. And this is how it would be done. So it's just a single query. We strongify it, and we pass it to the server, and as a response we get JSON object, and we parse the JSON object, and then we get the data and comment and stuff. So it's you're really familiar with it because you know GraphQL, so there's no point. So yeah, but what about those unnecessary requests? Because with this approach, we get hundreds of the same requests still, because it's only a data query language, so we don't own the network. So we can just we could catch the same ones and send just only one of them. So this is how it would looks like. So let's imagine that we have some sort of request batching. So we wait for some time with throttling the requests, and we look for the same and we merge them into one. So and let's say we return a promise, so we can cache a promise, and then each request share the same promise, so we resolve the same data for everyone. And yeah, but it's not a huge improvement. It's improvement, but it's not huge because there is no the same requests. So what about inconsistent data? We sort of solved that with the request batching, but we still get the different result because of the round trips and stuff. So it's only but we cannot overload the network by using some caching mechanism. So we can use a store to keep the result inside of it, and then when we do the request, we hit the cache, and we go straight to the UI if the result is there. If not, then we can fetch it from the server. So it's really helpful. And yeah, but this service is getting bigger and bigger, and it seems like this solution would be perfect for any one of you. So let's open source it. Why not? We get the contributors, we get the stuff done even, and we can spread the word and make it popular thing and stuff. And it would be helpful for many of you and many people. So yeah, someone did, and somewhere there is a magic tool, and it's called Apollo. So what is Apollo? Apollo is a GraphQL client that allows you to fetch the data from the GraphQL endpoint, but also it manages the network, so it's really good for UI and stuff. So it solves the problem we've talked about, and it's exactly what we need in not only Angular 2 community, but in React and any other community of creating the modern web application, because it fulfills the need. And yeah, so we own the network, but what about the user experience? So Apollo to the rescue. And yeah, so let's talk about user experience. So in our apps, we've got something like latency, so users don't like it because you don't really like to see the loading indicator. It's really annoying, like it's 2016, so what the fuck? And we've got something like optimistic UI, which is a feature of Apollo client, and it works something like this. And this is cool because I don't have to point the cursor, I can just go there. So as you can see, we type some comments, we hit the submit button, and the result is showed immediately. Yeah, but then if you will look closer, you see that there is a delay between the actual response and the actual updating the UI. So it's an optimistic UI. So yeah, as I said, we submit a comment, request is made, we update the UI at the same time, and we get the response from the server. And yeah, this is how it works. So we do the mutation, we hit the Apollo made some stuff, like magic things, and then we send the optimistic response to the UI. In the meantime, in the same time even, the actual request is made, so we can also compare the result to invalidate it. So yeah, this is how it works. And the latency yet again. So how can we make our apps even faster? So we can use prefetching. So imagine that you have, as you can see, we don't like loading indicators. So imagine that we have a page which is a GitHub example. This is like, by the way, this is like the most comprehensive example of Angular 2 and React and Apollo in the web, so it's really good. And I try to keep it up to date as possible, as much as possible. So we have a list of GitHub repositories, which is not important, and we have like other route, which is a nested route. When we click the view comments, we hit the router, we change the route, and then the actual fetching, like the actual data fetching is happening. So you can see that there is a time, like even when this is an example, so I cannot use throttling, but imagine that we can, but I will show it too. Let's make it spontaneous. No, just kidding, it was well prepared. But here's the spontaneous part, I think it's it. Yeah, done. And let's make it, don't look at it. Don't, where's the guy? Don't try to git clone it. So,
he's gone now.
Oh, he's gone.
Not to worry.
Yeah. Okay, so let me put it here. And what I have to, okay. Let me show you because there is a store, we keep the same data inside like one place. So when you make a mutation, like, I don't know, when you type a comment like this, and you keep, like, maybe not ASD, but like, hello GraphQL, hello Berlin, it's shorter. Okay, and when we click submit, let me show the network, we send something to the server. So we mutate the data, but we get no result. Like, there is no change in UI. So how to do this without even hitting the server to get the data, because we only change one thing. So we can do something like this. Keeps your finger crossed because I don't know where it is. Oh, it's in the new comment. Yeah, it's obvious. So we can use feature like query updating. So we can update the actual store. We can predict the result, and we can get the mutation result and put it into the store. So we can update the query without hitting the server. So we can change the data of it. So basically, it's it. So it looks like this, but it's boring. So imagine that this like just one line. And I don't know if I have to. No, I don't have to. So let's get refresh. And when we do this, like I will do throttling. Don't know where it is. Oh, okay. So I think this is okay. And let's say it's delayed. So when I will click submit, the result won't. Oh, just let's see. And then it's updated because we don't have like optimistic response. We get the actual response from the GraphQL server. So how to do this? How to make it like even cooler? Let's enable this line. Like it's not so easy. Like it's easy. Like Apollo is mind blowing. So let's. Yeah, I didn't even hit the refresh button. So oh, it's throttling. Oh, it's offline, so it's not also good. We have not so much time to do this. Yeah. Okay, so let's put the throttling. The result is obvious, so I don't know where to. Okay, so it's way more delayed. And when we click submit, boom, like, okay, I will clap for myself. So. Okay, that's it. And okay, back to the slides. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so it's basically the same what I showed you. And what about the real-time experience? So what about someone post a comment and you want to be notified? It's possible with subscriptions, and subscriptions are not well. I don't know what is the current state of it inside Apollo and GraphQL, like, you know, because I don't. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's working. We have it on a GitHub React and GitHub Angular too, so you can like look it up and just copy paste it. Like, no, it's not so easy, but this is how it works. So it's a pub sub system. You hit the action, which is a mutation or something. You hit the server and then spread the information about like to the clients. So yeah, but what about the CEO? People should visit your website because we've got support for server-side rendering, which this is spontaneous. Let's open the okay, so let's go to the universal npm start. Fingers crossed. Its TypeScript is always like, ugh! Yeah. There's no throttling here, so, oh yeah, that's cool. And again, I play with, I think it's something like this. Oh, it's not. So let's try, yeah. And as you can see, it's an author, which is my name and a last name. And it's server-side rendered. So when I hit this, let me show the, okay, so you can maybe something like this. So when I press enter at the, like somewhere here, you will get my name and my last name, and it's rendered on the server side, so you get the result. It's even not reloaded. So when you render the actual website, there is no like there is update, but there is like no blinking. There is no like blank page for because of the store registration stuff. You can read it on the Apollo documentation. Is so well documented. And when I play this, we get the result. So as you can see, there is a home component, which is a data, and this is a fake data came from the DB on the server. And when I open the next, and you get the, like, it's not, there is, because it's fetched yet again on the client side. And with store rehydration, we won't do this. And this is, like, let me show it to you. yeah, I try to keep it up to date with the universal starter, which is official. And I managed to get the Apollo working on it, with it, so you can also just check it out. It's under my GitHub. It's okay. So move on. Where is it? Oh, it's GraphQL, which is cool. It's not a paid endorsement, so yeah. So yeah, this is how it works with store recognition. So on the server side, you specify the queries you want to fetch. You want to be like you want it to be rendered on the client side, visible immediately. So we fetch the queries, we save it to the store, then we pass the actual object of the store to the some variable under, I don't know, window or document or anything. And then you fetch the data, but it's already in the cache. So you would know, like, you could, but like, you can also use the cache, and that's it. Like, it hits the store, and you get the result immediately, and yeah, the update happens. So it works like this. But it's still not enough. We want more. We want like real meat. So we can use ahead-of-time compilation, and Angular 2 Apollo, which is an integration, works also with that, which is like, it's since 0.7 release, and there is a huge API change on 0.8, because we won't use promises. All will be a stream, like unobservable, so it will be like in few days. But what if we could make just one request per render? So imagine that you refresh the page, or you change the route, and there is just one request, which is like another thing that is mind-blowing and it's painless. So we've got feature like query batching. It's like a thing that I mentioned, and it works like this. So you probably remember, but I think you're not, but okay. We had something like, imagine that there is a slide, like previous slide, and we've got something like, I don't know, we batched only the same request. But now we can like merge the request and send it like just one. So it's powerful. Like this, like it's one of the best features I loved about Apollo, and it's cool. Like it's freezing cool. And yeah, but it's only for Angular. Like, can I use it with other frameworks? Like, yes, with Angular 1 point something. Because yeah, we also created a package called Angular 1-Apollo, I think. But yeah, but you can use with so many others before, because like all the things I said, it's really related to the React and stuff, because like all share the same principles. Maybe not all, but you know. And yeah, but it's enough. Like, hit me with any question if you have. Like, it's a joke. But after all, and it was fun. Thank you so much. Feel free to message me anytime you want. Like any question about Angular, Apollo, and we need contributors. But yeah, and you should come to Poland because it's close. Like, why not? And thank you. Danke.